Hello and welcome everyone to today's News Tonight, the weeknight news show where we're joined by special guests and our lovely patrons to discuss the day's gaming news. I'm your host, Derek Bittner, and I'm joined by my good friends and GVG co-founders, Steve Bowling and Ash Paulson, as well as our very special guest, GetMadz. Welcome, good sir.
Hello, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be on, and yeah, let's talk about some news.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But before we actually continue, we do have a word from our sponsor, so let's bring that up.
This video is sponsored by Opera GX, the world's first gaming browser. Opera GX is the browser I've always wanted. It's tailor-made for gaming and packed with features that let me get the info I need while giving me the level of control over my browser I've always wanted. GX Control lets me limit the amount of resources Opera GX is using, from RAM to CPU to network usage, and it is a lifesaver. I can dedicate a specific amount of memory to my browser, meaning I don't have to worry about it closing it before I open a game or start a stream like the one you're watching right now. GX Corner gives me the info I need on upcoming releases for all platforms, and it even lets me track which stores have great deals on games, including those monthly free games on all the major platforms. It even has Twitch and Discord integration, so I can keep up with my favorite streamers and see what's going on in the GVG community, all without leaving my browser. This is easily my favorite feature so far. It makes managing the channel so much easier. Opera GX is also incredibly customizable. I can change up the colors of the browser to match the TNT colors like I did here, listen to music in the background, pop out videos so I can easily watch while I worked in another tab, and so much more. Opera GX has finally made me ditch Chrome. The new hot tab killer, which shows me which tabs are using the most resources, forced dark mode, free VPN, and so much more make this the browser of my dreams. Check out the link in the description to download Opera GX, and thanks again to them for sponsoring this video. Hey, how about that? I know I'm not wearing the same shirt, but thanks a lot to Opera GX for sponsoring this episode, and huge thanks to our own patron, Brandon Breakroom Arcade, for helping me figure out how to do some of the cool editing tricks that were used in that sponsored spot. So yeah, it's really cool that we were able to get that hammered out, and again, huge thanks to Brandon for helping us out with getting that as nice looking as possible. I appreciate all the help. Anyway.
Absolutely. It feels like we're making the big time, you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, congrats, guys. Congrats.
Yeah, it's really cool that we got our first VTuber and our first corporate sponsor.
It's all there. It's all there.
Oh, goodness. But yes, that is really cool. Before we get into the actual news, though, we have to do some updating on our own, because, Steve, if you lift up your hand,
hi,
people might notice something a little different about you.
Yeah.
Oh, what happened? What's going on there?
I'm two things when I'm not here. I'm a dad, first and foremost, but I'm also an idiot. And so if y'all have ever seen The Simpsons where Bart and Lisa are fighting and Bart's windmilling his hands like in an attempt to hit his sister, I was doing that in a very feeble attempt to entertain my kids. And apparently I did it way too hard, right into my own leg, and I just jacked this whole hand up. So it hurts like hell.
Oh, man.
And
Ouch.
yeah, you know, I sacrifice a lot for the fam, but yeah, doing like even holding the mouse is not great. So
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Oh, it's totally all right. It's all, you know, it'll be fine. I went to the doctor. They x-rayed it. They're like, oh, you know, maybe don't do stupid shit anymore, Steve. So, yeah,
we need to come up with a cool
advice.
story for you, though. We need like a good war story for
I know.
you. Like, you know,
Well,
you
I was
can't just say,
practicing. I was training under a waterfall, practicing my Shoryuken, you know.
I was practicing under a waterfall, and a shark came out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you think the hand is bad. You should see the shark.
There's something about kids, Steve, because you know, you bust up your hand. I, bust up my butt falling down the stairs.
Oh my God.
Kid. It's something else. Also, real quick, looks like Ash's volume needs to come up a little bit, Steve.
All right.
According to Brandon.
Yeah, Ash, why don't you increase on your side, because I have all the stuff set.
Cool. How is that? Hopefully.
That seems better, I guess.
Sounds good.
But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what happened to good old Steve.
Yeah, I'll be fine. Thank you to everyone in the chat for your concern. I'm totally okay. And the leg that I hit is totally fine, which is ridiculous.
That's good at least. At least you didn't damage both your hand and your leg.
Yeah.
You know what, Ash?
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a little bit of your spirit. I'm like Metal Man. I'm weak against myself. Like,
there you
Nice,
go.
nice. That's a nice cut. I love that.
I was gonna say it's a shame it wasn't the left side of you that you busted up, because then you'd be all right.
Oh my god.
Nice.
Wow.
Okay. Nice.
Man,
I was
Azrael,
We're all
like,
becoming-
puns when I joined. This is a good experience.
Yeah, there you go.
By the way, Derek, I found the other the two upgrades, so we're good to go for the EP
Okay,
list.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have 5 new EPs tonight. That's crazy. 2 upgrades and 3 new ones.
Incredible.
So
Oh,
Yeah.
congrats.
unreal. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump into the news, because we got 7 topics, one of which, probably 2 of which, there's a lot to talk about. But the first, and we'll go ahead and bring that up here. The first is a follow-up to something we mentioned on a previous TNT, where Microsoft said about increasing the cost of Xbox Live Gold, essentially doubling it for the year. And within that same night, shortly after we recorded, they reversed that decision real quick. So,
Oh god.
yeah.
I mean, of course they did. How many people did this decision have to get through? All of them saying, yeah, man, this sounds great. This is a great idea. We're going to double the price of Live Gold. People are going to love this. We're going to get no blowback whatsoever. How did this even make it out? But maybe it was planned. Maybe they were just, generating attention.
Did they do
who
it?
knows?
Was there anything in particular which they added, or was it literally the same as last year, but just with just half, double the price?
Yeah, it is exactly what they offered last year, just double the
Yep.
price, which is
Mhm.
hilariously
What's
bad.
Right?
That is
Just
weird.
yeah.
Yeah. It really is just, they raised it to $59.99 for 6 months of Live Gold, up from $59.99 for a year. Like, they just straight up doubled the price. It was unprecedented. And of course people were pissed. Like,
Yeah, people
Not
complain
only-
about the Switch
yeah.
being $20 a year. Like, of course people
Yeah.
complain about that.
like when Nintendo's online seems like a good value in comparison, you've screwed up.
Yeah,
And-
exactly.
And, perhaps they just did this to generate some attention. Obviously, the conversation is predominantly being controlled by the PS5 right now. I don't see a lot of people talking about the Xbox Series X compared to how many people I see talking about the PS5 on social media and such. So maybe they just wanted to co-opt the conversation. I did notice that they used this announcement as a kind of vehicle to say, hey, by the way, we're also going to make it so you can play free-to-play games like Fortnite without Xbox Live Gold going forward. We've heard your complaints and we're listening. So maybe they wanted to call attention to that by doing this.
I
Maybe.
kind of doubt it. Real quick, just turn your volume down just a bit, according to Brandon Ash. But in the meantime,
Okay.
Brad Sams on Twitter, and I saw this because of good friend John Cartwright. John, retweeting it earlier, said that it's like people were saying maybe they need the money for the cost of running these, running the internet, running gold. That's expensive. And Brad Sams on Twitter, I think he's part of like a financial thing, from what I can tell. Executive editor of BWW Media Group, apparently. Yeah, Microsoft put $15.5 billion into the bank this year. They're fine.
Wow.
They are fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's an
yeah.
excuse for this. I don't think there's
Yeah.
an excuse
No,
for
there was
raising the
no
price
reason to
because
do
of
this.
expenses. Yeah, my guess
Well,
is this
and
is
I mean, there
probably a
wouldn't be-
publicity, I'd say.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I mean, no, go ahead, please.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I feel like if anything, this was probably publicity, because I can't see anything like a few of my UK friends have said that they see about as equal amount of people saying that they're gonna buy the Xbox Series S and X versus the PS5. But to me, I haven't seen anyone talking about the series. I've only seen
Yep.
people talking about the PS5 and even talking about pre-orders like now. Like my roommate has been saying he's still trying to get his pre-order, and I'm like, yeah, I haven't seen anything on Xbox's side. So I think this is really just to try and get them to have a name out there. Even if it's bad publicity, it's still publicity, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Arkwing in the chat says this was just to try to make gold seem less valuable than Game Pass, and to try to make people go to Game Pass, which that's pretty likely as
Oh,
well.
that's smart. That's smart. I wouldn't expect.
But-
Yeah.
At the same
Microsoft-
time, though, when you're... Oh, go ahead, Steve.
I was going to say, it's like the old saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And Microsoft, I feel like they have this history of doing stuff that is objectively anti-consumer and bad, in the name of trying to make things better somehow. And I agree, Game Pass is still like an amazing value, continues to be, in my opinion, the best value in gaming, especially since they didn't increase the price of that. But forcing people into it by dramatically increasing the price of the base service is just stupid. Like, and it shows, I mean, it's such a transparent strategy, because if Xbox Live costs truly went up so much that they had to do that, then why did the Game Pass subscription price not go up?
Right.
You know, which includes Xbox Live.
And this would have been questionable in any time, any year, you know, in any situation. But to not consider the optics of doing this during a pandemic when people are already struggling, like really genuinely struggling, and to not think about the fact that, hey, you know, maybe this isn't the best look when people are already trying to make ends meet during a pandemic. And on top of that, their competition isn't doing anything of the sort. You don't see PlayStation doing anything like this. So just the optics here were so bad all around. And I mean, they certainly, I don't want to say good on Microsoft for reversing the decision, because the decision should have never been made in the first place.
Exactly.
Yeah. But at least they reversed it quickly, I guess.
Yeah.
They learned quickly. There was enough of a blowback. There was like, well, let's pump the brakes here.
Yeah, at least if I didn't try and just keep pushing it, being, what are you talking about? This is fine, guys. It's fine to raise it this amount. Like, that would be way worse.
Need to keep that goodwill for Game Pass.
I have to say, Madz, I am so deeply impressed by your facial expressions, because I know behind the scenes there has to be a lot of work going into making that work.
Wait, what are you talking about? This is just me being myself. Like, I don't know what you're saying. Like, do I look funny? I don't know if I look funny on screen, but this is yeah, maybe there's like something in my face. Like, oh, great.
I love it.
Thank you. Thank you, Derek.
This reminds me of one of the new episodes of Animaniacs where, like, I think Dot sings a song about turning everything cute. And so the entire world is just seen through the filter of everything being hyper stylized and cute and anime and big eyes. And that reminds me of that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, should we get into what's probably the biggest story of the night?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Let's pop that up there.
Sorry, is this AC or?
No, this is GameStop.
GameStop, right? Stonks. Game Stonk. All right, throwing it up.
Game Stonks.
Yes. All right. So we had we planned to talk about this a little bit before, because it was like, it seemed like they were rising, and then they were going down again for the last time we were going to talk about this, but we're like, there's not a lot of news. We'll just hold off. I'm glad we held off, because this story just got crazier and crazier all the time. And you'll forgive me, because I'm going to be kind of verbose here, trying to explain all this, because essentially this has become a game of chicken between hedge funds and Reddit. That is not a good combination. So this was kind of summarized by a person on Twitter named Oddly Z Dark. That's where I grabbed it. But this is where I saw, and it made a lot more sense to me how it was all done. Or maybe it was Alshin that did it. I don't know. Either way, Alshin on Imager put this whole thing. And here's the basic gist of it for those who might not understand. So the basic idea of stocks is you buy the stocks and it goes up, you get an increase. It goes down, you lost the money. So you buy $5 worth of stock, it goes to $10. Congratulations, you made $5. It goes down to $1, you lost $4. However, exists a thing called short selling, which is the opposite, where short selling makes money when the stock goes down in value. So what short sellers do is borrow someone else's shares and sell them with the goal of buying them back later and pocketing the difference as profit. So the idea is, you borrow somebody's shares and you borrow them for $1 and you sell them at $10 and then promise to give the stocks back. So if the stock goes down to $5, he all of a sudden makes it back at a cheaper price and makes some profit. So basically what happened is a hedge fund tried to force down the price of GameStop and short the stock. And that it's been done time and time again, but they did it so much with GameStop people caught on because they took it from $20 to $10 to $4 a stock. They almost bankrupted the company and made billions of dollars doing this. And then enter Reddit and Wall Street Bets, a subreddit of, that's in there, because someone noticed that the hedge funds shorted GameStop of 140% of the shares available, meaning that they got so greedy that they borrowed more shares than actually existed. And when Wall Street Bets realized this, they told everybody, because here's the rule with short selling. All the shares that they borrow must be paid back. There is no exception for this. They have to be sold back or paid back. So realizing this, the Redditors and a lot of people who just noticed this bought every share they could get their hands on from GameStop, driving the price up as much as possible, because eventually the hedge funds have to pay those back. So if they borrow millions of shares and sold them for $10, they made $10 million in immediate profit. But they eventually had to sell those back, and they didn't have a choice. So what they were at where the stock is at now is what they have to buy them back at. So they might have made $10 million, but because of where the shares were at a certain point, they had to spend $147.98 million getting those shares back.
God.
They lost, just in that one case, early on, they lost nearly $140 million. So
no biggie.
Yeah, but then it gets worse.
Fine.
Yeah,
Oh
and then it gets worse. So eventually, the due date for these hedge funds needs to return when the borrowed shares comes closer. So what do? They doubled down. They short more because they're sure that they can manipulate the stock market enough, like in the past, to get it to crash and thereby save themselves. And every attempt so far to crash the stock has failed. It's dipped a bit, but they've always brought it back up on Reddit. It is amazing. So
insane.
Everyone knows what these people are trying to do. And with every little bit of extra attention it's getting, more and more people are buying the stock, destroying the hedge fund in the process. So eventually what happened is Melvin Capital, a multi-billion-dollar hedge fund, needs a bailout because it lost so much money shorting GameStop. They borrowed billions off another hedge fund. And that was yesterday when the stock price was $76, at least when this was put up with. Then it went up to $147. That was when the stock price was $76. At this point, at the time of this writing, it was at $148. So it doubled.
Whoa.
So, yeah, those hedge funds are still trying to short the stock at 130% of the available shares. And that's, again, how greedy it was. So all these hedge funds are now on the national media stuff, on with the people that cover the stock markets, crying about the market manipulation, which is what they were doing in the first place. They're like, no, normal people can't do this. This is all for us. This is our job. This is what we get to do. You people can't do this. However, the gamer people on Reddit have an ally in Elon Musk. And what you might not, Elon Musk, you can say whatever you want about the guy, but he has a bone to pick with these hedge funds because they have tried to do this to Tesla multiple times. He's made it not happen. So he hates the short sellers. And with a single tweet, Elon sent the price skyrocketing from that $148 to $230 a share.
No.
Yes.
Wow.
Oh my
So
God.
now, all of a sudden, a huge number of wealthy whales have started to jump in, buying up huge amounts of stock at crazy prices. And the investors don't care because they care about how expensive they buy the stock for, because they know the hedge funds must buy the shares back. So a lot of them don't even care if they lose money. They just want to see the hedge funds burn. And the thing is, already Melvin Capital is definitely bankrupt. They already got one bankrupt. They already got one bailout. They're not going to get a second. And it's basically, again, hedge funds versus Reddit. And it's really insane. Now, again, this person says, they're not recommending whether you should buy GameStop or not. They're not a financial advisor. They're just covering exactly what's going on and how it's essentially a game of chicken. And when the game ends, it's going to be house, it's going to crumble, and there's people that are going to be losing millions. It is an utterly insane situation, and they're replicating it with other things now, because now I'm hearing about them doing the same thing for AMC and other places that are kind of struggling, that the stocks were low, that people were short selling with, and now they're doing it again. And there's stories on Reddit where people did this with just a little bit of money, and somebody got the $4,000 they needed to get their dog veterinary care, that otherwise he was going to die and lose him. There was a very sweet story about that. The other person was like, doing this whole stock allowed me to get my father the surgery he needed, help out these normal people. And all of a sudden, it's like, hey, this is actually helping people for once, but God forbid the billionaires lose money. All these people who are, it's just revealing that the stock market is other BS, and it's just a gambling ring, essentially, the grand sense of things. Like, it's the way stocks can just change and shift at any one time is insane. I am mystified by all of this, but I'm not buying the GameStop stock or getting involved in any of this, because I'm adverse to gambling, because this just seems like dangerous.
Well, no, I think that's for one thing. Guys, everyone watching, do not buy in GameStop.
Right.
Yeah.
It's probably too much. I don't have the money to spend $200 and $300 or whatever in shares right now to get there.
Exactly.
If you got in early, you're in a good spot, because I did see somebody, I think, invest like $50,000 early on in GameStop stock, and they now have like 26 million, and they haven't sold out yet.
Oh my God.
That's so good.
Jeez.
I mean, Derek, I was going to say, like, you might have a future as a stockbroker, man. I mean, like that whole explanation.
I got to give it to this guy. The person I'm reading comments,
fair enough.
That's the one who did it.
But you
I
delivered
my
it
head
as
around
though...
it at all until I read this thing. So all the credit to Aushin.
Well, you delivered it as though you are a confident stock market expert. I don't understand stocks at all. I wish I did, because I feel like I could probably have made a nice tidy bit of money if I had going into it. But I don't understand the stock market at all. It's just not something I've ever really gotten. And I appreciate you relating that post in such a way that even someone like myself could understand it, because it's never made much sense to me.
Yeah.
I think...
Oh,
sorry.
No,
I was going to say, I think what you said, Derek, about it being gambling is pretty true, because if you think about it, stocks is kind of like, it is gambling, but it's smart gambling. Like, it's sort of like, if you study it and understand it, you'll probably increase your chances, but it's still, going into it, you should expect not to win it back, just when it comes to like gambling and stuff. So, it's a lot of people just jumping on it when it from a trend is really freaky to me. And like, I don't know, it's a weird world.
Yeah.
I see West Egg in the chat bot, 6 shares of AMC, which is probably a smart thing. You go in small, you're probably going to make a nice, tidy little thing and get out of there. That's probably a smart play, especially when it's just starting for AMC.
Yeah, that might be a good play.
I think my favorite thing about this, if you haven't been to Wall Street Bets on Reddit, woof. That is a place.
Oh, really?
I checked it out the other day. Yeah.
It is fucking awful. But it's like watching two people you hate fight. Like, no matter what happens, the average person wins. Like, the bad guys on Reddit
mad at
versus
these Reddit
the bad
people,
guys
especially
on
from
Wall
some of the stories that are coming out about this actually helping people with finances.
Good things are happening. My point is that, like, I don't have a dog in this fight. I'm not invested in it literally. Like, I'm financially not invested in this, which I'm thankful for, because this just looks like a stress ulcer waiting to happen. But I find it interesting. Like, it's like Godzilla versus King Kong playing out on Twitter right now. Arguably, nobody likes either of them if you're just the pedestrian standing by, but it is cool to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, I never thought I'd find myself on the side of a Reddit mob ever, but here we are. I mean, I'm pretty much going to join any side against bottom feeding billionaires who continue just to take from, regular people and rig the rules in their favor. So here we are, 2021, and I'm siding with a Reddit Wall Street mob. Never thought that would happen.
The government is already looking at going in here, because it's kind of exposing how useless the stock market is in the grand scheme. It doesn't actually do anything.
That
And
is
it's like,
valid.
oh crap, put the cover back on, get it back on. Don't let people understand this stuff or figure this stuff out or realize that it's all just hypothetical. Like
Yeah.
it's like how, people, companies firing a bunch of employees can all of a sudden make the stocks go up. It's all hypothetical. Or Nintendo announces something about how this big new thing, their stocks go down.
Yeah.
Didn't
they go up with Pokemon Go? Was that like a really big
hype
or something? I think I remember something
went up afterwards, but I think maybe initially even it seems like initially a lot of people are like, I'm getting out here before it's changed. I don't like change. Let's get out.
I have watched the Nintendo stock for years now, and because I've always wanted to be a stockholder in Nintendo, and I've learned that if you want to get into Nintendo, buy towards the end of a generation, right? Like towards the end of a hardware cycle, and then wait for the first trailer. No joke. Wait for the first like actual trailer for that new piece of hardware, and then sell the day after, because it will go through a tremendous spike. Like from Wii U to Switch, Nintendo stock shot up like a huge amount, but then by launch day, it took a nosedive again, because no matter what you expect, for whatever reason, Wall Street like way overvalues how much hardware Nintendo is going to sell on day one of anything.
Steve, I think it even went down sooner than that, because I remember like watching the January presentation for the Switch with my brother.
Yeah, you might.
And he's really into stocks and stuff. And then he looked up. I was like, oh, check the stocks for Nintendo, and it was like they're down after this like crazy good like trailer and stuff. I was like, because we were like, oh no. Like growing up with a Wii U, you can't really boast about Nintendo very much if you own a Wii U. It was kind of hard it was a hard sell. But then when the Switch like full like presentation came out, I was like, oh my god, let's see what the stocks are like, and they were low. They were very low. So you're probably
the
right.
difference between the expectations of like financial experts and Nintendo fans is hilarious, because I was at that a press event just before the January presentation, and I was like, damn, this thing's gonna light the world on fire. And then and I think every Nintendo fan felt the same way. We were all rushing out to buy this stupid thing, like and Wall Street's like, nope, not good enough. Try again.
I think the cherry on top of this whole thing is the fact that the subject of all this is GameStop.
I know,
company
right?
that most gaming enthusiasts
if it wasn't for the fact it was GameStop.
Well, and just the sheer irony and the fact that most gaming enthusiasts don't really have a lot of love for GameStop anyway. I think most of us were kind of fine with the idea of them going out of business, other than the retail level employees who would suffer from that. And of course, that's never okay. But GameStop as a corporation, kind of shit. So I think the fact that this is all about GameStop is just horrifically ironic. Z-Patty also brings up an important point in the chat where they say, I only play the stock market. And I actually retweeted something earlier today that I think we can all kind of safely blame Nintendo for teaching gamers about the stock market through Animal Crossing. This is they caused this.
And how to play the system.
Exactly, how to game the system. They caused this. Totally.
GG Nintendo.
By the way, I'm with Amy. Like she's in the chat saying, "I'm nervous of stocks. My dad lost everything with day trading, and I'm still scarred." Like, there's too many stories like that. I'm not getting into that. It's just I don't. That's why I don't play the lottery. I just like no. I might have had a chance to make a good amount of money, but no, I'm good. But anything else to say about GameStop? Because otherwise, it's like let's move on from this chaos at least. All right, let's go ahead and bring up our next topic. Speaking of the stock market, we got new stuff in Animal Crossing as they've shown off their next free update, which involves Festivale. I'm not sure how that's pronounced, and the Sanrio collaboration amiibo cards are actually coming to the West for the first time, which, as Sugar Conroy tweeted, well, that value just went down.
Yep.
It's just one of those things. And I mean, I don't really play a lot of Animal Crossing at all, but hey, more Animal Crossing people. That's cool.
Yeah. So,
I mean, and I'm loving Pave here. Pave is fabulous and colorful, and I love that costume. And Pave might be my new favorite villager now, if Pave counts as a villager.
I count
like
Pave.
special character.
Yeah.
So, go ahead, please.
Oh no, I like. I'm not sure if you guys have felt this. Do any of you guys still play this game or have played Animal Crossing New Horizons recently?
So
I tried to get into it, but
yeah.
Amy got sick, and I just
Yeah.
fell off. I
Oh,
couldn't play
yeah.
with her.
I'm the
Yeah.
most avid Animal Crossing player of the GVG crew, and I've not really been active with it for quite a while now. Like I'll come back, check out holiday updates. In fact, I think I tweeted my last tweet about Animal Crossing was during the Christmas event, and I was still wearing all my Halloween stuff from the last event.
Yeah, no, that was me too. I was doing the same thing. Like, I don't know. I have one friend, who like plays the game every day still, and at this point he says he's just like collecting furniture. Like that's his main goal, is just filling out the catalog. And I'm like,
Oh,
how are
wow.
you still having fun just doing that? Like, I don't know. It's crazy. Like, it's good for people who still have fun like that. But personally for me, like, even though I made a lot of content about it, like I just can't really get back into it. Like, I think it's, I don't know, it's more frustrating because even though this game has a lot of content compared to, like, I don't know, the previous ones on paper, over time it just, I don't know, it just feels like a lot less exciting, and or it feels more so that you have to sort of make up the fun, versus other parts of the series.
That is a really,
Right.
really great way to put it. Because, I like that idea that you have to make up the fun. Because, once you've caught your fill of fish and bugs, and you have, there reaches a point where you just have way more than enough money, and you've done all the things you want to do to the island. And then it's like you show up and you're like, oh, yeah, like, what do I do now? There's nothing left, you know? You don't need Nook miles if you don't need to improve anything. You know, you don't need money. So there is kind of just like, oh, I'm here and I got to find something to do. And I think that's been a weakness the series has always had. Like you reach a point where it's just like, there's nothing left for me. That said, I do like these updates. They're not going to pull me back in. 100% they won't pull me back in.
Right.
The Mario stuff in particular that's coming in March, I think is cool. I've always loved it when Nintendo uses Animal Crossing to cross over with their other franchises.
Oh no, I agree. 100%.
Bring back the damn NES games already. Like,
No, that's
Yeah,
not,
no,
that's not gonna happen.
that was like a cool feature, but yeah, that's like, I don't know, that's lost to time, honestly.
Well, I also guess that if you have NES online, you don't. It doesn't really fill as much of a void that existed before. But yeah, and Animal Crossing, I'm kind of the same way. I mainly only play the handheld ones, and I got more than my fill, so I didn't even really bother with New Horizons. I did a PAX preview with Derek in the before times at PAX East 2020, and it was like one of the most boring previews I've ever done because it's not a game that demos well, and it's just. Yeah, I feel like I've gotten more than my fill of Animal Crossing.
It was
But that
basically
said,
run around and try to show stuff that people might be interested in.
Although,
yeah, I mean, I think
but,
I think it mainly comes from like if you're a creative or like use it as a creative outlet, then it's probably brilliant. Like it's and especially for staying indoors and stuff, it's been great for that. But for like as a regular video game, like it doesn't apply in the same rules. I think it's this game, especially like New Horizons, I feel like has a lot less to do for people who like the video game aspect of Animal Crossing in terms of or like, I don't know if you compare it to games like Stardew Valley or Harvest Moon. Like, I know it's not like those games, but if you know, like I sort of visualize like New Leaf and City Folk, or Let's Go to the City as it's called in England, those games sort of more like that, where it's, I don't know, I felt a lot more attached to the characters. And in New Horizons, I see the same lines over and over again from villagers. And I'm like, I don't know, it really kind of takes you out of the experience.
Yeah.
And there's still no Brewster, where you can't have Animal Crossing without coffee, without a cafe, man. Come on. Bring back Brewster, and then maybe... Hey, that alliteration, I feel like that makes a good hashtag. Bring back Brewster. Say that 5 times fast. But yeah, if they bring Brewster back, I might maybe it'll pull me in if I can get some Animal Crossing coffee in my village, or my island, I should say.
Nintendo also tweeted out there are more new items coming to the game as well, including, so there's more furniture for your friend to collect, including a Rossetti model, along with football themed gear, which and what I think is the coolest aspect of this, New Year's customs from around the world. So they have like Chinese New Year,
cool.
Korean New Year.
That's
pretty cool.
Yeah, because I recall in New Leaf that those items were locked per region, like they were region locked, and
Oh,
so
okay.
you could only get certain. I think you could only get certain items depending on what country you were in. But with New Horizons, it's a lot more open, and it's available for everyone, regardless of region. But still, again, it's like I just really like because I really liked it when they added the like the what was it for Halloween or the one where they added Rover, the Rover update. I had a really good time with that
Oh yeah,
maze.
that
I
one
wish they
was
just
fun.
did more fun events like that, like ones where they add
Yeah.
these items, but there's a specific fun way of doing it. Like I really wish they did like a Halloween maze. Like that would have been so fun. But instead it's just sort of standard stuff you do on your island. I don't know.
Oh well.
Yeah.
But it's something. It's more content for a game that's still doing quite well for Nintendo. But obviously, for once you get a little farther in it, it kind of loses the luster. But well, let's go ahead and move on to a subject. I'm sorry if I screwed you up earlier, Steve, because I skipped the topic.
No
Sorry.
worries. That's I threw that up on the screen for a second. I was like, wait, we're off
Yeah,
track.
sorry, I completely missed it. So let's toss that one back up here because cool. So new details have emerged on IO's upcoming Bond game that we talked about a little bit earlier. It is a all new digital Bond that is not inspired by any Bond actor. It has an original story that could easily be turned into a trilogy. And IO has 200 employees right now and expects that number to grow to over 400. This is all from a Danish article that includes other details such as meeting with Eon Productions. As apparently thought somebody named Barbara Broccoli didn't think previous Bond games were worthy enough and violent for the sake of violence. However, IO's pitch convinced her. So I'm excited for this. And IO has been on a hell of a streak lately because Hitman 3 just released. And I saw another bit of news where they made back their production costs in the first week of sales from Hitman.
My God, that's insane.
Wow.
Which is fantastic.
I picked up Hitman 1 and 2. Haven't got a chance to really play through them yet just because I saw some playthroughs and it looked really fun. And it is kind of cool how you can just approach it. Like it's one of those weirdly enough couch co-op games, I feel, where you're sitting with somebody else, you watch them go through and make an attempt on this life, they don't quite make it, and then you try it with your own tactics and basically pass the controller back and forth to see who gets the kill and move on from there. I like games like that on occasion, and Hitman seems to fill that niche. And again, to see them take basically everybody's just imagining it, the Hitman gameplay with 007, that makes too much sense.
Yeah, that's a really cool idea.
Yeah.
Like I had no idea about this, like, any news about this game, so that's really exciting. Because I didn't grow up, of course, with the N64 Rare version, but I grew up with the Wii GoldenEye, and like I love that game. And the first Hitman game I played, and that was really fun. So combining those two together sounds like a really, really fun time, and makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I think doing an original. Oh, go ahead, Steve.
I was just going to say, I agree that the Hitman style of gameplay would be exceptionally well suited to a 007 game. And I like the idea that it's not just going to be another run and gun kind of game. As much as I love GoldenEye, I never felt like a spy in that game. I just felt like another dude with a gun killing lots of people. So I like the idea of having a 007 game where you actually engage in espionage, spy-like activity. That sounds cool. I am here for it. I haven't played Hitman 3 yet. I have it, but, time. I have to find the time to play these games.
Well, I think key to all this is the fact that they're apparently planning on building their own original Bond universe and not basing the character on any existing version, like any movie version of the character. And I think that's really important because that allows them the creative freedom to build a Hitman style experience. Because, if they were going to base this on the Daniel Craig version, which happens to be my favorite version, that's a very physical incarnation of that character. He's rough, he's brutal, he's not necessarily all that covert. He likes to get into fist fights, and so that wouldn't really work for a Hitman style experience. So I'm really I like the Bond universe in general. I not counting some of the more problematic aspects of his character dating back to the 50s, but I enjoy the Bond IP and the character, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do here, especially with IO on such a roll. I think they could do something cool here. And I guess they're whispering about this potentially, if it does well enough, becoming a trilogy, like building a whole story. And I think that's a really cool idea if they can pull it off.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a really good chance at a next level Bond game, and I think IO's earned that sort of reputation that they have at this point.
Real quick, I
do
want
so
to I want to weigh in on Eddie Beals on the chat. Says IO should be brave and go for that Idris Elba Bond. Hell yes, I have wanted him to be Bond for a long time. I would love for them to use him in the role, but I do want to say I like the idea of Bond being an original digital character, because that means that like 20 years from now, we won't be in a Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core situation where a celebrity's like, no, you lost your rights to my likeness and this game is locked away forever. So if they can
it's a lot smarter to... Yeah, it's way smarter to do this. I mean, we saw already with Spider-Man PS4, like having an original Spider-Man, and lots of people admire that Spider-Man as being their favorite. Despite like, you know, all the movie incarnations and stuff. So this is really fun. And yeah, as you were saying about longevity, definitely like this, it means it can hold up in the future, and there's like no, you know, repercussions of the IP and all of that.
Yep, absolutely.
And Steve, just as an aside, you probably already know this, but I love the idea of an Idris Elba Bond, but No Time to Die might already have done you one better with Lashana Lynch, because she plays 007.
Oh, that's right.
In that movie. So there is a black woman who is 007 now. She's not obviously James Bond. That's a different character. But yeah, so No Time to Die might have already done you one better there.
That's
so we'll
true.
see how the movie
I can't
turns
wait
out.
to see that.
Yeah, me too. I was actually looking this up to make sure, and I guess I just found out that No Time to Die just got further delayed so they can reshoot Nokia product placements. Come on, I just want to see this movie.
I mean, I'm excited for theaters to actually be open and safe, because I'm excited for Godzilla versus Kong. I would rather see that on the big screen for a movie like that, but
like I'm not going to risk my life to watch Monster Hunter. Like that's not something I'm going to do.
No.
Oh, man.
Right.
No.
But yeah, I mean, I would like to see this movie in particular in theaters if that's possible. So maybe a further delay is a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Madz with the unintentional perfect segue, though.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Oh. All right, let's go ahead and jump over to our next topic. And I think it's what you're referring to, because Monster Hunter Rise, this a special edition Switch based on Monster Hunter Rise is confirmed for Europe and Asia so far, likely coming to other regions. And I gotta say, even as a non-Monster Hunter fan, like I've not really played or gotten into the series, this is a beautiful Switch.
Agreed.
Yeah,
same. It really is.
This is.
Do any of you guys play Monster Hunter or are fans of Monster Hunter?
No,
not really.
Not really. Our good buddy Brandon does. He's our Monster Hunter guy.
Well, yeah, I've been playing since 4 Ultimate on Wii U. That's what introduced me to the game. Mm-hmm. And like I don't know, this is definitely compared to they had a 3DS. They had a 3DS version, like a special edition, and that was quite cool. But this is way better. This is way better than that one, in my opinion. Like the gold, even if you don't get the Switch, the Pro Controller alone looks amazing. Yeah,
agreed.
It's beautiful. I could see myself, you know, possibly wanting to get one of these if there wasn't a potential Switch Pro coming down the line soon. Even as a non-Monster Hunter fan, as you guys said, this thing is beautiful.
Yeah, for me, I'm all about the Pro Controller. I'm not the biggest fan of the design on the Switch. I think it's cool, but you know,
it's got a lot going on.
Yeah, it's got a lot going on, and like I said, you know, the Mario one that comes out is way more up my alley in terms of just color and being loud and fun to look at. But I do absolutely love this Pro Controller. I want this. I will probably import the Pro Controller.
I'm just happy that they're actually making custom Switches now, because for a while we had like nothing on that regard. Like compared to how many like special edition 3DSs we had, and even like, you know, we you know, there just wasn't that much. And I remember seeing a lot of complaints about how there just wasn't that many different variations. Like we thought, oh, we'd get this type of Joy-Con, or we could get this, we could get that. So I'm really happy that in the past year or so, we've been getting these special editions.
Absolutely. Yeah. The one thing I want to point out, Vedron Hotik in the chat says the kickstand always screws up the design. Yeah. What the hell, Nintendo? Can you not color these? Is there something about them that you can't screen print designs or what? Like the Mario one too is all red, and then you have the black kickstand.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's really, really weird. The other thing that you mentioned, Madz, that I found interesting was Joy-Con. Like, I'm surprised Nintendo has not released like GameCube Joy-Con or just, you know, Joy-Con that mimic other popular systems. Like when the Switch was first announced, all these really cool fan mock-ups of potential like different Joy-Con ideas came out, and Nintendo did precisely 0 of them.
No, they look so cool. Like, imagine having, you want to play with a GameCube controller on the go for Smash? Like, that could easily, I know it'd look kind of silly in the mock-ups of just a GameCube controller sawed in half as Joy-Con, but still, that idea is so cool, and it's not utilized. It's like the idea of, it kind of reminds me of like how there was rumors that the Wii U could support, or maybe this is true, it could support 2 gamepads, and all the different ideas with that. I don't know. It's really missed potential, but I know there's a lot of third parties doing things like that. But still, it would be really, really cool to see that. Maybe later in the line, or maybe with that's what the Switch Pro rumors might have or something.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, with the Wii U and the 2 gamepad thing, like Nintendo themselves confirmed that it was possible. And they said like, oh, maybe later down the line we'll release additional game pads and software that supports it. I think it's just a victim of like the Wii U's failure. They were like, nobody's buying it anyway.
It's quite
that, and I think the gamepad itself made up like $150 of the console's price or something.
It's ridiculous.
It just seems like one of those weird slam dunk things that they have no interest in doing. I would be curious to know how well the custom themes sold on 3DS, because that's like kind of falls into the same bucket. How are there not themes on Switch yet beyond
that is
basic
ridiculous.
black and basic white? Like maybe
awful.
they actually sold terribly and we're just not aware of it. But I have to imagine that custom themes based on Nintendo IPs sold really well for 3DS.
Hold up.
I think Nintendo just hate money. That
must be it.
Obviously, hate money.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing was, I remember I personally loved the themes on the 3DS. I have dozens of themes, and my favorite one is the Dreamcast theme for the 3DS. If you've ever who owned a Dreamcast?
Here, baby.
I'm gonna
hell yeah.
I never had a Dreamcast.
The Dreamcast had a particularly loud disk drive that made kind of like a whining sound when you turned it on. And no joke, if you have the Dreamcast theme on and you flip open your DS, it makes that same optical drive whining noise.
No way.
And I was like,
that is insane.
The best. Like, whoever made this loved their Dreamcast. And I to this day, it's still on my 3DS. I think I bought it in both the American and Japanese eShops, so I could have it on both of my 3DSs. Like,
nice.
It's just insane that the 3DS themes went to a point where they were having themes on other game consoles which weren't Nintendo. Like, we're just wanting colors. I'd happily just have a blue and a red, or like just a Mario theme, but we can't even have that. It's insane. Yeah, no, it's crazy that they haven't taken this opportunity to work with it yet. However, the only UI they did update was add that Nintendo Switch Online icon to the home screen, which looks, I don't know about you guys, but I really hated when they added that a few weeks ago. It's awful.
It speaks volumes to how little they've done to the Switch UI experience, because I was excited that it showed up, and then I opened it and I'm like, there's nothing here for me.
Yeah, we shouldn't be excited about a button to pay them more money to play online. Like, come on.
Nope. But anyway, let's go ahead and move on. Hopefully we'll get news that'll come to the States as well, but so far just Europe and Japan. But moving on to our next topic.
All right.
Pop that up here. So Super Mario 3D World previews have come out today, and a lot of new details came out of this, particularly from GamesBeat, who just outright said how long it took them to beat the game. Which, knowing Nintendo, I get the feeling that probably isn't something they wanted out there, because I've experienced Nintendo embargoes. Usually they're a lot more tight-lipped than this. But according to GamesBeat, it takes 3 hours to beat Bowser's Fury and another 3 hours to unlock the 100 cat shines that are in this mode. Apparently, Bowser's Fury takes place in one giant world, and within that within that world exists smaller subsections, which are like the individual stages. They just all exist in the same open space, many of them as islands in a big lake, and each of these areas hosts a handful of unlockable cat shines. I saw one say how the world kind of shifts after you beat one, and it kind of becomes the next one.
Interesting.
And some are more hidden and require you to collect multiple items to unlock, similar to the red coin challenges from Mario 64. And some only become accessible if Fury Bowser blasts a wall open with his fire breath.
Whoa.
So yeah, you can't hurt Fury Bowser unless you collect enough cat shines to turn into the giant Giga Cat Mario, and you basically have to just dodge your attacks till you collect a cat shine, or he tires himself out. So yeah, it's seems pretty cool overall, and seems like a pretty nice mode. But again, 3 to 6 hours, that sounds about right from what I've heard about this. Did not expect 100.
Yeah, I wasn't. Yeah. Imagine if they had this be like 12 to 20 hours or something, and then on top of 3D World, like that would be insane for content. So I'm not surprised at all. The only thing which really sort of upsets me about this is it means that we might not get like an Odyssey 2 or like a 3D Mario for a long time, because knowing Nintendo and knowing the past year and how it could have like messed up with timing and production and stuff, it's sort of strange. It kind of puts it in a weird limbo where I'm not really sure when we're gonna have another sandbox Mario game, in a similar way of like the situation with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe when that came out, because we've been saying, oh, there could be DLC for it, or they could do a Mario Kart 9. So I think this puts 3D Mario games in another strange position. So maybe like we can expect like Mario sports games, or maybe a new 2D game in the next few years. But yeah, anyone who was hoping for a Mario Odyssey 2, I wouldn't hold out on that. Maybe I think we'd have to wait till the next generation after Switch.
I wonder though, only because I think you definitely could be correct there, but at the same time, Odyssey, depending on how they approach development, it could reuse a lot of assets from Odyssey 1, which would cut down on the amount of on the amount of original development work they needed to do for it. I'm not, who knows? I'm not saying that'll be the case, but it's possible that we could still see an Odyssey 2. But I think you're definitely right to caution people against assuming one is on the way.
Because like, again, this happened with Mario Kart for me, where I was like, oh, okay, we have this, so are we going to get a Mario Kart 9? And then nothing with that. And I'm just trying to play it safe. I do love the fact that they are adding a lot of content which Wii U owners didn't initially have. I think that's really smart. Like, compare what you're paying $59.99 for with this versus $59.99 for New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. Like, come on. Like, this is ridiculous.
That is very true.
Yeah. Like, the amount of content you're getting in here versus that is astronomical. Like, that game removed content with the challenges. This one adds a new 6-hour campaign. Like, sign me up. Like, I have no complaints with this.
And apparently Bowser Jr. is pretty cool in this as well. I saw read another preview where you can set his AI to not help at all, help a little bit where he'll take out the occasional enemy, or basically set him to he'll just attack everything and just slaughter everything in his path.
Nice.
And take care of things for you. And of course, he's also the 2-player mode, so seems pretty neat.
I think I want to set him to not help at all, just to keep him in character. Same. I mean, Bowser Jr. is not going to willingly. I guess we don't know the context behind what's going on with Fury Bowser. It's Godslayer Bowser. People, come on. I guess we don't know why or what's happening with that, but I can't really see Bowser Jr. wanting to help Mario that much. Although he does in Paper Mario Origami King. So
I just did a video with my friend Jack where we talked about. It was before this news came out. But it just went yesterday, where we talked about Bowser's Fury and about how Bowser Jr. really hasn't been out of a clown car for years. Like, he's just been stuck in there. And I think it'd be strange to see him walk around now. Like, because he's I don't know, like in Smash Bros. And this is like, he's never outside of that clown car. And another thing which we mentioned in that was that his paintbrush from Sunshine doesn't have EGAD's logo anymore, which is
what the
super
hell?
I missed that.
strange.
Oh,
yeah, no,
I
it
missed
has
that.
the it has Bowser Jr.'s new logo, just like his regular logo, and they did this for Nintendo Super Nintendo World as well, where he holds the paintbrush, but there is no mention of EGAD. So it seems like they're kind of like slowly removing EGAD. I mean, they obviously started because he hasn't been in any game since.
Well, I
But
mean, Luigi's Mansion 3 was in, so
no,
that's
exactly.
a little
It's
odd.
kind of weird that, like, I guess they're trying to make
Yeah.
just Luigi's Mansion a separate thing, or try and keep it separate from the main Mario franchise.
Yes, yeah.
I agree with that. It
It's
feels like
really
they're trying
weird.
to put Luigi's Mansion in its own like different universe from the rest of the Mario games, which is unfortunate
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I like EGAD. He's cool.
No,
Yeah,
it'd be so
I
cool
mean-
to appear in. Yeah,
he
Yeah,
should be in a Mario
Nintendo-
Kart.
yeah,
Well,
exactly.
the thing is,
Nintendo
he
Kart.
almost was. He was removed early in development from Mario Kart DS. Like
That is
there are
insane.
files within Mario Kart DS that reveal that he was planned to be playable in early development, and then they removed him. So maybe this shadow effort to scrub EGAD from the main Mario universe actually started back in the Mario Kart DS
Yeah,
days.
maybe.
Halfway through development of Mario Kart DS, they were like, actually, we don't want this old geezer hanging around. Get rid of him. We can't have him. Let's have Rob instead.
Yeah,
I agree, though. He's a
perfect.
charming character. I kind of wish he'd show up a little more. He's a charming character from Luigi's Mansion, and I enjoy his presence when he does show up. So,
But this is the same case with like so many Mario characters where they're just left to the side, and it
Right.
made me so happy when they added Pauline. And references to Donkey Kong in Odyssey, because I was like, oh my god, they're actually touching an old character, and I'd much prefer this
People-
rather than adding new characters.
Yeah, people
Agreed.
like continuity. You can add new characters. People like to see those old characters do things. So,
yeah.
and I
Right.
think and they kind of get that with Bowser Jr. because, Bowser Jr. is his own thing, but the clown car, serves a purpose as well, because that is nostalgic as heck for people who played Mario World, but we don't see Bowser in the clown car as much. It's really become
right.
Bowser Jr.'s thing. Oh God, Imposter. Remember Toadsworth? Yeah, where he disappeared off the face of the planet. My God.
Yeah. No, exactly. Maybe
one thing I
they'll,
noticed. Oh, go ahead.
You go, Ash.
Oh, one thing I noticed in this 3D World and Bowser's Fury news dump is that it doesn't at least reveal what, if any, reward there is for getting all 100 cat shines in the Bowser's Fury portion of the game. I imagine it'll probably just be another stamp for photo mode or something, but maybe there's some cool reward at the end of all that.
Or there could be a new character. Dun, dun, dun.
That could be as
I mean, I
well.
doubt it, but
Yeah.
I've seen people say about the Calico Cat being Daisy. I've had a few people say like, "Oh, that could be like an unlockable character," because the Calico apparently means Sarasa in Japanese, or at least
Wow.
that's what she's referred
Oh, I
to.
didn't know that.
Really?
And so, yeah. So the
Interesting.
Calico Cat, which is showcased with the blue cat being Toad and the red being Peach, and so on and so forth. People saying that the Calico Cat could possibly be Daisy, but I'm not 100% on that. It would be really cool to see a new character.
You
It'd be nice to see them do something with Daisy outside the party and racing games.
Exactly, yeah.
I imagine real quick. Derek and Ash and we've all worked with Nintendo embargoes before. In a way, I hope that Daisy's not in the game for the sake of the journalists that are covering the game right now. To be clear, we don't have the game yet.
No.
But Nintendo loves to do this thing in their embargoes, or at least Nintendo of America loves to do this thing where they take whatever the best part of the game is, and then in bold font at the top of the embargo tell you not to tell people about it in very specific terms. So I guarantee you, whoever has the game right now, if there is a hidden character like Daisy, their embargo almost certainly started with "Do not reveal that Daisy is in the game." So they spoiled it for everyone.
Tell you right off the bat, the original release of Super Mario World, the 3D World, that was the thing, because do not tell people Rosalina's in the game.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget the embargo for Smash Wii U, because one of the things that you couldn't talk about was the fact that Flat Zone X was in the game. Like Flat Zone X was one of the last revealed stages in that game's stage roster. And so not being able to talk about, but it had already been revealed in other territories outside of the US. So not being able to talk about it ironically made it seem like there was something more exciting waiting in the wings than Flat Zone X, but there wasn't. And it just muddled the messaging. Yeah. Whatever you do,
don't reveal Flat Zone X,
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy. Have you guys heard any of the music which has been revealed from these pre-releases?
I have not, but I heard that the metal theme when Fury Bowser's around is pretty awesome.
Oh well,
I need to hear the music.
Yeah, so far, like just from clips on IGN and Nintendo Life, which I've seen 3 tracks. There's the main like Bowser Fury music, which comes on where Bowser Fury appears or whatever, Fury Bowser, whatever it's called. And then there's been 2 Overworld musics which I've heard. One is really catchy. I don't know, like yet again, like I still listen to 3D World's OST all the time, and this is no exception. Like the music sounds really good, super jazzy. Just what you expect.
I can't wait. Thanks for letting me know. I hadn't realized there were music previews out yet, so I need to check. I'm a huge video game music nut, so I need to check that out.
Me too. Yeah, nice. I didn't find an exact. I didn't find like an exact link to just for music, but if you just look at some of the preview or the gameplay, you will notice that there'll definitely be some new tracks in the background.
Yeah, cool. Really quick, Jake Pelka, I just want to say I love the Toadsworth. I can hear the Toadsworth dialogue in my head reading that. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. I read that and I hear it and it's in my head now.
I just have EGAD in my head, just that little little laugh.
Yeah.
Well, the expression they gave EGAD in Luigi's Mansion 3 was insane. I loved that. Like I don't know, they've really built on his character, which just makes it more. It just makes it sting more that they, I guess, are retconning him.
Yeah. Well, let's end off. Let's go ahead and move on to our last topic of the day. This is
this is something.
So, Activision's in the news again because apparently they were in an interview with Vice, I believe, or not an interview, but I didn't read the full. I wasn't able to read the full thing, but the main takeaway is Activision has said that that having to interview at least one minority candidate for any hire is an unworkable encroachment on the company's ability to run its business.
What?
Yeah, you can't make this shit up. I mean, what a dumb, tone deaf thing to say. I mean, it really actually Rami Ismail says it perfectly on Twitter in a comment about this, saying, imagine admitting your Rolodex is so homogenous that finding one minority person is unworkable. And that says it all right there. Like, what is wrong with you, Activision?
That doesn't sound like a sentence. That doesn't sound real.
Yeah. So apparently it was a shareholder proposal submitted by the AFL-CIO, and the lawyer, Activision Blizzard's lawyers, rejected it, and that's when they said it's an unworkable encroachment, because it's on the gaming company's ability. It's an encroachment on the gaming company's ability to compete for new talent in a highly competitive, fast-moving market.
What?
So. I guess the subtext there is it's only easy to find the proper talent if they're looking among
white men.
Yeah, like what? Straight white men, I imagine.
What the hell? That's so weird.
Like, get out of here, Activision. I mean, it's not as though they have a whole lot of goodwill to burn up anyway. And not that they need to. They're going to be fine, forever, money-wise. But this just is so gross. It's so fucking gross.
I'm reading through it now. This same proposal was sent to EA. I'm looking to see if EA responded to it at all, but Activision certainly did.
Yeah,
EA might be like, yeah, we'll do that. After seeing this,
the gaming industry is so diverse, and people that work on stuff. Like, I don't understand how this would be a detriment to them at all. Like, I just don't understand it. It just really doesn't make much sense at all.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I don't understand how this is a hard thing to do, or why this is the response. I mean, I dug into the story while Derek was talking about it, just because I like to think like, oh, maybe it's just the headline. But one, it's written by our good friend Patrick Klepek, who did our story as well. And he tends to not sensationalize his headlines, So once I saw he was on, I was like, oh, I probably don't need to go much further. This is absolutely accurate. But I read through it and I'm just like, yeah, this is, no matter how you slice it, this is bad. This is not taken out of context. This is not something that somebody who is only loosely affiliated with the company said, and it's being attributed to Activision as a whole. It's their freaking lawyers saying, yeah, we can't possibly look at people who aren't white. That would be hard. Like, how do you do this? Especially as a lawyer, you have to know how badly this is going to reflect on the company you're representing.
Okay, so EA did respond to this. They said they would consider the proposal, saying we're in regular conversations with our shareholders and we value the feedback we receive. In accordance with our standard procedures, EA's board of directors will consider the stockholder proposal. The board is committed to maintaining hiring practices that promote inclusion and diversity at EA. More broadly, EA believes that a diverse and inclusive workforce is key to our success. It fuels our creative cultures and enables us to create amazing games and experiences for millions of players around the world. EA is committed to attracting diverse, dynamic talent, prioritizing inclusive values and practices at every step of the employee journey. So yeah, EA did this better than Activision.
Wow.
Oof. Good job, Bobby Kotick.
When you're worse with EA, you're in the wrong.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, this is just, it's indefensible. And I mean, I guess the sad truth is that Activision is going to laugh all the way to the bank, no matter what, given their IPs.
And the thing is, there's nothing in this proposal saying you have to hire them. They just say you have to interview them.
Right.
But
even that's too hard. Yeah.
Yeah. And as Jacob Ewer says, even the EA response is a nonsense response. They aren't rejecting it, but they are not saying they will do it. They're just acting like they already do. So
I thought we were past that point where if someone has like a non-white name, they, I remember hearing statistic that people who had black sounding names weren't hired as much. But like, I thought we were past that. Like, it's 2021. Like, come on.
We are 100%, unfortunately, not past that.
Yeah, exactly.
And, I mean, if anything
2020 demonstrated in, the last 4 years, we are not past that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
This doesn't help. Like,
you have the benefit of not being from the U.S., which is helpful.
These days.
The UK has its own issues from what I've read,
and that's not.
I did. Just to let you guys know, I did move here just before lockdown, which was ridiculous. So actually, I've been living in the US since March.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah. And it's, I went to some protests when I was living out in LA, and it was just insane to go from just living out in the country in good old UK to living out in a city during a pandemic and then during a social
upheaval.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm just curious. I live in LA, so where in LA were you? Because indeed, LA during the pandemic and the riots and the protests.
Yeah, no, I was in LA County. Like I was living in LA County for a while. And
nice.
Then when I moved there, I wasn't able to. Lockdown literally just happened, so I wasn't able to get my license. I wasn't able to get my credit card set up. I was just stuck there, having to rely on my roommate and my friend to get around. And then I ended up having to. I was like, I am unable to live here. Like this is not a life where this is not the right time. Maybe I'll come back in the future.
No,
I moved to New York to be with some of my family who lives here. Like my brothers.
Oh man.
Cool. So yeah. I moved here a few years.
I'm jealous.
That's such a shame. Because being born and raised here, it's great. I mean, it's too expensive, but it's great. But moving here just as the lockdown started, not a great way to experience LA. That sucks, man.
Yeah, no, it really did suck. My mom's from California, so it was kind of cool to see some of the places she grew up.
Nice.
But still,
nice.
Cool. Yeah, no, it was not the right time.
Yeah. Oh well.
I'm jealous, though.
Jake Pelka is asking the LA riots. What there was rioting that occurred during the peaceful protests that happened that they were separate from all the peaceful protests going on, and so that was pretty freaky for a little while because I'm not that far away from downtown. But by and large, the vast majority of the protests here in LA were peaceful. So
no, I went to a peaceful protest with my friends, and during it, I'm pretty sure a cop van just rammed into the crowd right in front of us. It was insane. There was no casualties, luckily, but still, it's just insane to see that. It was really scary.
My God. Hey, well, on that uplifting note, thanks, Activision. We've covered all the major headlines. We got stocks, we got Mario, we got Microsoft, we got Activision. It's a hell of a day. But that's all the major headlines from today's news. But thanks again to Opera GX for sponsoring tonight's episode. And remember to go download it for free at the link in the description. But before we sign off, of course, we have to give a special thank you to Madz for joining us for this episode. This was a lot of fun. Where can everybody find you at?
You can find me at GetMadz. It's a YouTube channel. I know it might sound crazy, but yes, I do have a YouTube channel. And on Twitter, it is GetMadz as well. You can it's just GetMadz on everything except for on Instagram. Someone took my username, so it's GetMoreMadz on that. Thank you so much, everyone for having me on. This was great to be on, and I'm so happy to talk news with you guys, even if some of it is kind of depressing.
That happens sometimes.
Yeah, no.
Well,
thank you so much.
We'd love to have you back anytime. It's been a true pleasure, man, and it's been great meeting you. And good luck on all your content, and good luck just becoming bigger and better in 2021.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you guys. Right back at you.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Open door anytime you want to come back. This was really cool, and our first non-human guest. I don't know.
Wow. No, yeah.
Yeah.
No, this is I don't know what you guys are talking about. I just have my webcam on. I don't any different. But yeah.
Oh gosh. But of course, we also have to give special thanks to all of our patrons at the producer tier for helping to make this show happen. Thank you so much. You all are all so wonderful. And in addition, a massive, massive thank you to our patrons at the executive producer tier and above. And that list keeps on growing because these fine folks include, here we go, Rob, R-Man X, Dan and Twistle, Z Patty, Adam O'Sullivan, Floating You, Christopher, The D-Pad, Vesmio, Waffle King, Kieran Phillips, Benny Yao, Rosa Bowling,
Hi, Mom.
Geller, Shiny Turkey, Titus Malvolio, Jake Pelka, Michael Phone, Mitchell Herring, Game Explain, Charles Zaz, Andrew Medeiros, Jonathan Belmare, Kitty Kong Fax, Patrick Harrison, Scott Barber, Evernight Studio, Rocks the Cat, Loyal Dingo, Azran127, Phantom 23, Sean Garrett, Shadow the Cat, Guillaume Monet, Kai Ed, Kit Fisto, Orem M, Top Dog 23100, West Egg, Master Lynx, Sean Davis, Deaneth, Coda, Lucky Wonderfish, Brandon Bovia, Octopuppet, Charlie Bird, Matthew Wong, Asish Joshi, Michael McCall, Eric Flapjack Ashley, Jackson Jordan, Sky Blue Flames, Young Ben Kenobi, Hyrule Hermit, Goron Amber, Straight Lace, Hugo J8A, Seth Walker, Jway, Macalau, Ken Roulette 09, Hoobie, Marcos Conscious, Wolf X Blake and Moon Macarons, Demon Kid Zaraki, Spencer Cady, Leanne Mustafa, Brooke, Frequent Positron, Nick Waterman, The Legend of Groose, Vedran Hotik, and our 5 new EPs today, Kane, Captain Finlandia, wonderful name, 60 Minutes and 60 Seconds, Brady Power, and Douglas Chomix. And remember,
Man.
yeah,
Jeez.
the list keeps growing. My God.
I
Let
love
me
it.
get a round of applause for Derek for saying that all in one breath.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah, that was definitely not
Indeed.
one breath. Oh, hey, there's 60 minutes and 60 seconds in the chat. Welcome. But remember that you too can become a patron over at patreon.com/gvgaming, where you can watch today's News Tonight live for as little as $5 a month. Also, a reminder that the end of this month is the end of our founders tier for Patreon. As long as you support us at $1, you will have access to a special founders chat in the in our Discord, where we can just talk with everybody there. After that, we'll have something a little different, but that is our special 3-month opener. So thank you all once again so much for watching, for the support, all of that. And if you like this video, be sure to subscribe to Good Vibes Gaming for more good times like these. So until next time, good night, good vibes.
See ya.
Bye, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.